This is a single arm lat pull down with a lat bias. The single arm setup allows you to adjust your body position so that the cable lines up directly with your shoulder joint and the fibers of the lat to help better bias the lat and reduce the contribution from the upper back and arm. A lat bias single arm pull down primarily emphasizes the latissimus dorsi, aka the lats, with help from supporting muscles like the teres major, traps, rear delts, and biceps. A lat bias means that we are putting the majority of the tension onto the lat, but it does not mean that we are turning off the other supportive muscles. You will still use your biceps, upper back, and other supporting muscles. The setup just attempts to shift a majority of the work to your lats, so that can be the muscle that fails first and not your arms. This exercise has a mid-range bias, meaning that the hardest and heaviest part of the movement occurs when the elbow is just past shoulder height. To set up, attach a single D handle to the cable. Ideally, I would have you sit off to one side of the seat so that your working arm lines up directly under the cable. This ensures that as you pull, the cable travels in a straight vertical line through the shoulder joint and into the side of the torso. So if your right arm is working, you would sit toward the left side of the seat so that your right arm can be in the center and pull straight down into the middle of the seat. For positioning on the seat, you don't really want to sit too far back or too far in, just sit far enough back so that your arm can reach fully overhead. I recommend using lifting straps to avoid grip fatigue. If your hands or biceps give out before your lats, first check your form, but then also give straps a go. For your execution, grab the handle and start with your hand in a neutral position with your palm facing towards the opposite wall. This helps to keep the elbow tucked in towards your torso and matching the lat's line of pull while also allowing for the lat to fully lengthen at the top. Anchor yourself down firmly under the pad. Use your free, non-working hand as a counterforce to either push or pull against the thigh pad or machine itself to prevent rotation and help stabilize your torso. The goal is to use it to brace your torso and keep it stable throughout the entire movement. It's okay to let the arm and shoulder joint have some movement, but your torso should be relatively stable throughout the entire rep. For your torso position, we don't want to be directly upright. You want a slight lean back to help align the cable with the lat fibers while keeping the ribs stacked down over the pelvis. If you sit too upright, you'll likely start to arc your lower back and lose that ideal path for a lat bias and engage more of the upper back. Before pulling, brace down through the abs to lock your rib cage in place. I don't want to see that lower back arch and the ribs flared up. Push the ribs down and get that nice neutral spine and really engage your core. Remember to use the seat pad as a counterforce to help keep this torso position stable. You want to begin each rep by allowing your arm to stretch the lat and reach fully overhead. Let the shoulder blade elevate naturally at the top so the lat can fully lengthen. This provides the lat with a full stretch in that lengthened position, which is really great for hypertrophy. Start the movement by pulling your shoulder blade down, then drive the elbow down towards your hip, keeping it tucked in and close to your torso. A helpful cue is to imagine as if you're pulling from your armpit rather than your hand, driving your elbow into the front of your quad or into your hip. Finish the pull when your elbow reaches the side pocket of your hip, with the palm facing in towards your face. At the bottom, you should feel that lat engaged and contracted. The cable should stay mostly parallel with your forearm through the entire rep by keeping the elbow tucked in and having it stacked underneath the wrist. Control the eccentric by slowly allowing the arm to travel back upward, allowing the shoulder blade to elevate again at the top to re-lengthen the lat before going into that next rep. Through your reps, you want to keep the elbow tucked in towards your torso, pulling it down into the hip or down into the top of the quad, whichever cue makes more sense to you, and avoid rotating your palm out and away from your face or flaring the elbow out and away from your body. Let's go over some common mistakes. A common mistake is arching your lower back or flaring your ribs up, which reduces lat tension since the lat relies on a stable rib cage to generate force. Keep just a slight lean backwards and brace the core to really maintain that neutral rib cage. Another mistake is excessive leaning of the torso from side to side. A little bit of lean to the side at the bottom is totally okay, but excessive leaning at the bottom just creates unnecessary compensation. We don't want to excessively crank ourselves over. Only use a minimal amount as needed to align the elbow and the cable. And lastly, you also want to avoid swinging the torso or leaning back excessively as you initiate the pull. Usually this happens when you're trying to use more weight than you can really control, which just shifts tension away from the lat and into momentum. Fix this by bracing your core and using the non-working hand to really anchor your body and keeping with the weight that you can actually control.